This book may need more than one preface, and in the end there would still remain room for doubt whether anyone who had never lived through similar experiences could be brought closer to the experience of this book by means of prefaces. It seems to be written in the language of the wind that thaws, ice and snow, high spirits, unrest, contradiction, and April weather are present in it. And one is instantly reminded no less of the proximity of winter than of the triumph over the winter that is coming, that must come, and perhaps has already come. Gratitude pours forth continually, as if the unexpected had just happened, the gratitude of a convalescent, for convalescence was unexpected. Gay science, that signifies the saturnalia of a spirit who has patiently resisted a terrible, long pressure. Patiently, severely, coldly, without submitting, but also without hope, and who is now all at once attacked by hope, the hope for health, and the intoxication of convalescence. Is it any wonder that in the process, much that is unreasonable and foolish comes to light? Much playful tenderness that is lavished even on problems that have a prickly hide and are not made to be caressed and enticed? This whole book is nothing but a bit of merrymaking after long privation and powerlessness. The rejoicing of strength that is returning, of a reawakened faith in a tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, of a sudden sense and anticipation of a future, of impending adventures, of seas that are open again, of goals that are permitted again, believed again. And what did not lie behind me then? This stretch of desert, exhaustion, disbelief, icing up in the midst of youth, this interlude of old age at the wrong time, this tyranny of pain, even excelled by the tyranny of pride that refused the consolations of pain. And conclusions are consolations. This radical retreat into solitude as a self-defense against a contempt for man that had become pathologically clairvoyant, this determined self-limitation to what was bitter, harsh, and hurtful to know, prescribed by the nausea that had gradually developed out of an incautious and pampering spiritual diet called romanticism. Oh, who could re-experience all of this? But if anyone could, he would surely pardon more than a little foolishness, exuberance, and gay science. For example, the handful of songs that have now been added to this book, songs in which a poet makes fun of all poets in a way that may be hard to forgive. Alas, it is not only the poets and their beautiful lyrical sentiments on whom the resurrected author has to vent his sarcasm. Who knows what victim he is looking for? What monster of material for parody will soon attract him? Incipit tragedia, we read at the end of this awesomely aweless book. Beware, something downright wicked and malicious is announced here. Incipit parodia, no doubt. I am still waiting for a philosophical physician in the exceptional sense of that word, one who has to pursue the problem of the total health of a people, time, race, or of humanity, to muster the courage to push my suspicion to its limits, and to risk the proposition. What was at stake in all philosophizing hitherto was not at all truth, but something else. Let us say, health, future, growth, power, life. In the end, lest what is most important remain unsaid, from such abysses, from such severe sicknesses, also from the sickness of severe suspicion, one returns newborn, having shed one's skin, more ticklish and malicious, with a more delicate taste for joy, with a tenderer tongue for all good things, with merrier senses, with a second dangerous innocence in joy, more childlike and yet 100 times subtler than one has ever been before. How repulsive pleasure is now, that crude, musty, brown pleasure as it is understood by those who like pleasure, our educated people, our rich people, and our rulers. How maliciously we listen now to the big county fair boom boom, with which the educated person and the city dweller today permits art, books, and music to rape him and provide spiritual pleasures with the aid of spirituous liquors. How the theatrical scream of passion now hurts our ears. How strange to our taste the whole romantic uproar and tumult of the senses have become, which the educated mob love, and all its aspirations after the elevated, inflated, and exaggerated. No, if we convalescents still need art, it is another kind of art, a mocking, light, fleeting, divinely untroubled, divinely artificial art that, like a pure flame, licks into unclouded skies. Above all, an art for artists only. We know better afterward what above all is needed for this. Cheerfulness, any cheerfulness, my friends. Also as artists, let me prove it. There are a few things we now know too well, we knowing ones. Oh, how we now learn to forget well and to be good at not knowing as artists. And as for our future, one will hardly find us again on the paths of those Egyptian youths who endanger temples by night, embrace statues, and want by all means to unveil, uncover, and put into a bright light whatever is kept concealed for good reasons. No, this bad taste, this will to truth at any price, this youthful madness and the love of truth have lost their charm for us. For that we are too experienced, too serious, too merry, too burned, too profound. We no longer believe that truth remains truth when the veils are withdrawn. We have lived too much to believe this. Today we consider it a matter of decency not to wish to see everything naked, or to be present at everything, or to understand and know everything. Is it true that God is present everywhere? A little girl asked her mother. I think that's indecent. A hint for philosophers. One should have more respect for the bashfulness with which nature has hidden behind riddles and iridescent uncertainties. Perhaps truth is a woman who has reasons for not letting us see her reasons. Perhaps her name is, to speak Greek, Bauba. Oh, those Greeks, they knew how to live. What is required for that is to stop courageously at the surface, the fold, the skin, to adore appearance, to believe in forms, tones, words, in the whole Olympus of appearance. Those Greeks were superficial, out of profundity. And is not this precisely what we are again coming back to, we daredevils of the spirit who have climbed the highest and most dangerous peaks of present thought and looked around from up there, we who have looked down from there? Are we not precisely in this respect Greeks, adorers of forms, of tones, of words, and therefore artists?